that President Bola Tinubu has again embarked on a foreign trip, this time a 10-day working vacation to France and the United Kingdom. In a statement on Thursday, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, noted that the vacation is part of the President's annual leave. The President's latest trip follows his 12-day diplomatic tour to Japan and Brazil, which included stopovers in Dubai and Los Angeles. Tinubu had departed Nigeria on August the 15th, stopped over in Dubai, UAE, and arrived in Yokohama, Japan, and on August the 18th. The President, while in the Asian country, attended the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development. Joining me now to discuss the implications of foreign trips by President Tinubu is his Senior Special Assistant on Digital Engagement Strategy and New Media, Ogra. Otega, thank you for being here tonight. The President is on another foreign trip, barely 2 weeks after he returned from a two-nation visit to Japan and Brazil. Isn't this another trip too many?
To clarify, the President is on his annual vacation, but is deemed it fit to also make it a working vacation for himself. He's entitled to his annual vacation every year as President of the country, and he's taking that.
Lately, President Tinubu has been quick to play up his lofty economic policies and reforms. Can you highlight some of the already noticeable gains of these policies as claimed by the President and his lieutenants?
I think these are not just mere claims. They're facts that are easily verifiable. They're facts on ground. We're seeing that in the return of, stability to our foreign exchange regime. We're seeing that in, more FAC being paid out to the states, meaning the states have more resources, to invest in education, to invest in healthcare, to invest in other areas of their own economies at the sub-regional level. We're seeing that in no longer having a cabal who were acting as middlemen to, cheat Nigerians using the force subsidy regime. We're seeing that in non-oil, the non-oil sector for the first time in Nigeria's history for a very long time now, being the major driver of government revenue. 20.59 trillion has been mobilized from January to August this year, up from about 40.5% in 2024. That is something that is commendable, and we're seeing that in the stock exchange. Over 26 trillion, has been put in just for the bank's recapitalization exercise alone. Now, what that points to us, what that tells us is that people are watching. A lot more people globally and locally are betting on this country, and we expect that to continue with the sort of reforms that we have put in place. The President will remain focused. The economic team will remain focused. The government will remain focused in ensuring that we translate all of this, as was said in the press release, into tangible items that Nigerians can finally begin to see and feel. And that means better schools, better infrastructure across roads, across healthcare, better export opportunities for agro products. You see, we're doing the SAPs, which are the special agro processing zones. We're building, farm access roads and everything. All these things come to.
Okay, I think we seem to have a bit of a challenge with the network. Otega, if you can hear me, please continue. All right, it seems the network is not being nice tonight. We apologize for the hiccup. We thank Mr. Otega Ogra in absentia for being here. Let's head on now to security matters. Amnesty International has called on the federal government to urgently investigate the widespread killings, enforced disappearances, and other grave human rights violations in the southeast region of Nigeria. The organization made the call on Thursday during the launch of its new report, A Decade of Impunity, Attacks and Unlawful Killings in Southeast Nigeria. The director of Amnesty International Nigeria, Isa Sanusi, said that the organization documented widespread violence carried out by both state and non-state actors, including unlawful killings, torture, arbitrary arrest, and attacks by armed groups. All right, I understand we have Ogra back, the Senior Special Assistant on Digital Engagement to Mr. President. Otega, if you can hear me, I want to quickly ask you about Peter Obi's comments. Like most Nigerians, he has criticized the president's claim of increased revenue, noting it must translate into tangible improvements for Nigerian citizens. He also said that many Nigerians have yet to feel the effects of the claimed economic stability. What's your reaction to Mr. Peter Obi's comment?
You know, whilst I welcome Mr. Obi's comments, at the same time, we don't need Mr. Obi's comments to be self-critical. I think if you look at the last paragraph of the statement Mr. Bayo Odonduga released, it was stated there that what we are focusing on now is to change or to move this into tangible results and tangible outcomes for the Nigerian people in terms of education, healthcare, infrastructure, and other things. So we really do not need Mr. Obi's comments to make us know what to do. However, it's right that numbers only matter if Nigerians feel the impact. That is why these revenues are significant, because they are now resources to fund all these areas, to fund new investments in the economy, to open up the economy more, to ensure that, people can begin to feel the impact of whatever it is we're doing. 2.1 trillion shared by FAC in the last, FAC sharing, that was in July, it's not a small thing. It simply means that some states now are getting 3x to 5x what they've ever gotten. It simply means more investments at the subnational level for them to use, to develop the people, the people and their communities. And the president has not minced words when it comes to what the subnationals ought to do. If you recall at the last APC NEC meeting, the president told the governors clearly that they need to do more work at the grassroots. We are under no illusions that things are perfect, but one thing we know, one thing we are certain of, is that we are on the right path. We had people like Mr. Peter Obi and other opposition leaders blame this government for taking certain critical steps that Nigeria needed to take to ensure that we had a sustainable and prosperous future. But today, the numbers which they are now, complaining about are telling us the truth. The numbers are saying we did the right thing, we're on the right path, and we'll continue to be on the right path. 20.59 trillion mobilized from January to August 2025, 15.69 trillion from, non-oil, Customs is doing, 3.6 trillion, in H1, which is 930 billion, 390 billion over targets. And all those things.
In interest of time, Otega, I have to interject and just take us back to the president's foreign trips. In his last outing, he made a couple of stopovers that were not part of the officially released itinerary. Should we be worried that same would happen this time around, especially if it's with the taxpayers' funds?
The president is committed to putting Nigeria at the forefront of everything he's doing. He has continued to do that. He will continue to do that. I'm not sure what the distance between Japan and Brasilia is, but it was important that trip was broken into two, meaning that they took the 11-hour flight from Brazil to another location, and then took that flight another 11 hours from that location to Brazil. So it's not something that, they should have flown 24 hours, the plane would have to refuel, and they took their opportunity to just rest for, I think, half a day or so before continuing their trip to Brazil. So yes, it's very important. The president will continue to be our chief diplomat, the diplomat-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It will continue to put Nigeria and Nigerians' needs first, and we are sure that it will keep on focusing on the work it's doing so that Nigeria can have a sustainable and prosperous future.
All right, let's talk security. The Nigerian military, some would say, have recorded some successes lately. Just yesterday, Wednesday, we heard that 9 suspects of the Benue and Plateau attacks were arraigned. And today, at least 15 terrorists were bombarded. What is the president doing right with the military this time? And should we expect more of this in the coming days?
And I want to commend our men and women of the armed forces and all the security agencies. They have shown that, with unity of purpose, with clear direction and clear leadership from their commander-in-chief, they are willing to lay down their lives for Nigerians. And we're seeing that in everything they're doing currently. We're seeing that in the wins they're making on the field. We're seeing that in the better, collaboration, interagency collaboration. under the office of the NSA. And again, I want to reiterate, this government has said it. We should no longer pay, ransom to those who are kidnapping, ransom to those who are terrorizing Nigerians. The arm of the law will catch them, and there are special courts that have been set up to ensure that justice is brought swiftly whenever they are caught. I think anyone, and I want to use this opportunity to tell every terrorist out there, everyone who is making life difficult for any Nigerian anywhere in this country, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Tinubu, is on the job. He has his eyes on the job, and he has given the marching orders to his security agencies, heads of security agencies, to go out there and make Nigeria proud, to go out there and curtail every incident of terrorism, every incident of insecurity across the country. Nigeria will succeed over people who want to bring this country down.
Otega, we have to leave it there for now. Thank you very much for speaking with us.